Come, let us explore Mahamudra for lazy but smart people. Alright, so what I want to do is tap this button here. So the beginning, this early morning lesson begins with the song, with Tilopa's Song of Mahamudra, written of course by Tilopa, translated by Chang, adapted and amplified by yours truly. So please chant the 15th verse with me. To transcend the tyranny of duality is the kingly view. To conquer the tyranny of distractions is the royal practice. The path of no rigid practice is the way of Buddhas. One who treads this path quickly attains Buddha's mastery of his eightfold path. What is enlightenment? It doesn't mean you're magic. It does not mean you're Gandalf the Grey. It doesn't mean you're Darth Sidious. It simply means you've gotten so good at the Buddha's eightfold path that you practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. And according to the Satipatthana Sutta, that mastery could be accomplished in as little as 1 week. So, judging from that, one could rationally conclude that the Buddha's path is not a difficult path, but when practiced properly, it's quite easy. So let's perform a contrast. There's transcendence, there's transcending and conquering. That seems very, very difficult. But the Buddha's path is the path of no practice. But no practice is, of course, a metaphor for no rigid practice. This is going to make more sense when we consider Sturgeon's law. One moment, if you please. Okay, Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, but what could that look like? Since the Neolithic Revolution, the majority of societies have been conditioning the majority of their citizens to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. But the ultimate subversion is what the Buddha did. It was to say, yes, I am conditioned to be this way, but I choose to transcend it. I choose instead to be flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. So, we can be controlling, or we can be laid back. We can be like the Buddha's foolish cousin, or we can be like the Buddha. We can be like Darth Sidious, or we can be like Qui-Gon Jinn. We can be like the Big Lebowski, or we can be like the dude. Let's be like the dude. And so we see that the Buddhist path is remarkably easy. And I'd like to explore that in greater detail with you. We have something that was described in the Iron Age as a Buddha nature. But now in the age of neuroscience and digital imagery, we would say no. What we simply have is a fully functional central nervous system. In the middle of our spinal cord, we have a sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to notice things in a very special way, which has evolved to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. But notice what, you might reasonably ask. Notice mind's antics of perception, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, such as emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining. But what are we to do with all that which we notice? Enter our parasympathetic nervous system. Ensconced within both the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord, this parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to physically relax and mentally release in such a way as to cause that which we noticed during our previous inhalation to fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less permanent, and less defining. There are amazing benefits to regularly playing with mindfulness and meditation. By regularly, I mean, once every 12 hours. The first thing that happens is we calm the symptoms of our amygdala's anxiety and aggression. Second, we calm the tendencies of our anxiety and aggression to control our choices and our utterances and our deeds as if we were but marionettes. The third benefit is that by regularly playing with mindfulness and meditation, we stimulate the anterior cingulate gyrus, this tissue here that kind of just looks like the letter C. This bad boy functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, the root of compassion and love. Pretty cool. This is why the late Tulku Thondup insisted that the highest love was the spontaneous and uncontrived fringe benefit of simply noticing and releasing. Furthermore, this love, this empathy is more than a cool thing. It's more than a pleasant feeling. It comprises 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. When we play with mindfulness and meditation, we cannot help but notice that things come and pass away. Emotions come and go. Perceptions come and go. Ideas come and go. Memories come and go. And so impermanence is easily experienced, the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. The more we practice this mindfulness and meditation, the more we notice that our choices and our utterances and our deeds flow with the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, which should not can be confused with the, I'm having trouble here, with the, what's it called? With the scattered spontaneity we might experience after our fourth consecutive espresso. When you start feeling like you can look through walls. See-through walls. So this centered spontaneity is the fringe benefit of mindfulness and meditation. This centered spontaneity is known by many names, including going with the flow or walking with the Tao. And so we see that the 6 remaining folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path take care of themselves spontaneously simply by regularly playing with the 7th fold, which is mindfulness, and the 8th fold, which is meditation. And so we see that Mahamudra is simple. We cooperate with our central nervous system in such a way that undoes the very negative habit of our cerebral cortex living in competition with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. And simply by playing with the practice of cooperating with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation, we soon master the Buddha's path. This concludes the opening lesson. Now let us prepare for group meditation. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friend, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So we are going to return to the practice text, the latest iteration of easy meditation. Please chant with me. Whatever comes, may all beings let it come. Whatever stays, may all beings let it stay. Whatever goes, may all beings let it go. Welcome to this early morning's first quarter of mindful crease counting meditation. Now, let us take a moment to review Bengali crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by 8 sets, and you've got 96 inhalations. We can count our 8 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. Now, how are we going to keep track of the first quarter? Simple. We're going to rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger, upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. So, by way of review, when we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we cannot help but notice mind's antics. As we silently and mentally, and of course this is also known as meditation, as we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we could find ourselves physically relaxing and mentally releasing that which we noticed during our previous inhalation, which is also known as meditation. So now, together as a team, let's practice. Welcome to this morning's second quarter of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. We could keep track of this second quarter by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger, upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce at the crown region of our head. When we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we cannot help but notice mind's antics, and notice in a manner that is vulnerable, passive, visceral, random, and fleeting. When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we cannot help but relax into mind's empty nature. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist meditation, please type your question in great detail in the chat window. Welcome to the third quarter of this morning's group meditation. To keep track of the third quarter, we can rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. By way of review, when we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to physically relax and mentally release to the point that what we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Together as a team, let us practice right now. Good morning. Welcome to this early morning's fourth quarter of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. To keep track of this fourth quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the heart region of our chest. By way of review, when we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. This is known as mindfulness. When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to so physically relax and mentally release that what we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less permanent, and less defining. This is known as meditation. Now, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, please type your question in great detail in the chat window. Let's practice. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.